Hi guys, welcome back to another YouTube video. Today we are going to do such a fun book recommendation video. We are gonna go down a popular list of tropes, and with every single trope, I'm going to give you a specific book recommendation. I'm really excited. I have such a good list and a huge stack of books. So without further ado, let's get into it. First up, if you love enemies to lovers, then I am going to recommend to you the Sinners Anonymous series by Soam Sketcher. I hope I'm saying that correctly. This is book 2 in the series. You can read them out of order, but book 2 and book 3 are going to follow the same couple. No good ever comes from a redhead in a stolen dress with her worldly possessions at her feet. I really want to tell you guys to go into this book completely blind, this whole series completely blind. The first book is very, very good. It's more forbidden. This one is most definitely enemies to lovers, and it does leave off on a cliffhanger, so definitely have book 2 handy. If you love the friends to lovers trope, then I think that you are going to love Powerless by Elsie Silver. This is a part of Interconnected Standalone as well, so you can read these out of order. This is also a hockey romance, so he is a hockey player. The tension between these two are unmatched. It is so good. 2 childhood friends, 2 broken hearts, 1 road trip to get away from everything. That's all this was supposed to be. After all, I've been living in the friend zone for years now. This is my favorite book in the Chestnut Spring series. The tension in this, the longing, it is just done so right. Like, you know, like with friends to lovers, it's kind of a weird trope. It's not my favorite trope. This is the first book that I've read that I felt like it was actually done right and really well. However, my problem is like, if it's a friends to lovers, why are they just now realizing that they want to be together? Like, it just kind of like is like a switch for them. But the way that this was done is so good. I loved their story and the flashbacks to when they were kids. Like I said, it is my favorite in the series. If you love Why Choose Romance, then my favorite to recommend is this duet by Ketley Allison. The first one is Broken Beauty and the second one is Loyal Vows. These are my special edition covers. I just think they're so cute. This is a dark academia Why Choose Romance. I have a romance with the charmer, the stalker, the tortured leader, and the unhinged psychopath. This also has kind of a mystery aspect to it because they're trying to unlock some secrets that are happening in this school, and she has to work with the 4 of them to figure it out. Broken Beauty is the first book, and it does leave off on a cliffhanger, so definitely have Loyal Vows handy because this cliffhanger was insane. If you love Grumpy Sunshine, then I would recommend In a Jam by Kate Canterbury. While this is a Grumpy Sunshine, it's also small town. He's a single dad. She's a jilted bride. They also have to get married in order for her to keep her father's farm that he left to her when he passes. And what better candidate than the hot, grumpy single dad? First time I read this, I read it on the airplane, and I was kicking, giggling, and screaming over this book. I nearly read the whole thing by the end of the flight. It is a thick one, but it is worth every single page. I actually haven't really felt this hooked to a book since The Things We Got Over series by Lucy Score. This, I would say this, I would compare it to that series, but better. Because I know a lot of people aren't a fan of the writing in that series by Lucy Score, but this one, I loved the series. Don't get me wrong, I loved it. This one, I loved it a little bit more, but it definitely reminded me of that series, if that makes sense. Now, if you're looking for a single dad nanny, I would recommend The Nanny by Lana Ferguson. Guys, look at this book. Very cute, very innocent. You would think nothing much happens here. You're wrong. The spice in this, the tension in this, he is a chef daddy, first of all, and she is hired obviously to watch his daughter. Mind you, she's also a cam girl, and chef daddy here watches her, not realizing it's the nanny a few doors down. A woman discovers the father of the child she is nannying may be her biggest, only fan in the steamy contemporary romance by Lana Ferguson. This book is so good. I recommend it to everybody, and they honestly, same as me, cannot believe how spicy this is considering how innocent the cover is. It is such a good read. This is what made me obsessed with Lana Ferguson. If I'm not mistaken, I might be wrong on this, but I think this is her debut. I read this like a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years, and I'm still jaw on the floor thinking about it. Next, if you love the boss employee trope, that I'm going to recommend to you The Bonus by Teal Swan. Listen, I was very pleasantly surprised with this book because her series that she's most known for, I think it's like the Mile High series, is not my favorite. So when I went into this one, I had pretty low expectations, and I also started it at night, okay? That's very important to the story. I stayed up all night and I read the whole thing. The whole thing in one night. Sun was down when I started, sun was up when I finished. Listen, the best way to explain this, and I mean this in the best way possible, it was like a car crash I could not look away from. The chaos in this book, it's a boss employee, right? And she has been obsessed with him, that she's finally like over it. She's like, I cannot continue, you know, going after this man who I schedule his dates for him. I schedule his vacations with his girlfriends. Like, this is just so toxic, and I am not able to live my life because I'm so obsessed with him that she quits her job. She's like, peace out, I'm out of here. I had to read the back for a second because I didn't want to spoil it. There is a part in this book that I don't want to say because it is a main plot twist and a big part of the story, but it's actually not on the back here, so I'm not going to tell you what it is. Just know that something happens when she leaves, and then something happens again when they're reunited years later. Oh my god, you guys. This guy, like, he's so mean. He is just a grumpy, miserable billionaire, right? And yet he redeems himself in the end. Yet I fall in love with him in the end. If you're looking for a good fantasy romance, I always recommend A Kingdom of Stars and Shadows. This is actually a 4-book series, but the first 3 books are about the same couple, and then the last book in that series is about a different couple. So you do have to read them in order to understand the plot. This is also a forbidden romance, so she is promised by the stars to marry the prince, only for her to actually fall for his brother instead. The tension is so good, the spice is so good, and the plot just keeps you going, and they're all very short books, so I feel like it's not dragged out. It's like the perfect length. For it to be 3 books, I devoured all 3 books in a weekend, and I just love this couple so much. I constantly think about this book, and yeah, it honestly made me obsessed with Holly Renee. I love her books. They're just amazing, and the forbidden mixed with the fantasy, mixed with the enemies, like, it's just chef's kiss. Now, if you love age gap romance, I'm gonna recommend Gratify by Caitlin Taylor. Not only is this age gap, it is also ex-boyfriend's dad, godfather romance, boss employee, and dad's best friend. It's literally every single forbidden trope you would ever want wrapped up in a bow and put into this book. This is my first Caitlin Taylor book, and it will not be my last. I devoured this book. It is so good. Her parents sadly pass in a tragic car accident, and she is forced to move in with him. And not only is she moving in with her godfather, who's also her dad's best friend, and her ex-boyfriend's dad, she interns for him for the summer, so she's also his assistant. It is so good, the tension, because again, you guys know my favorite trope is forbidden romance when it's done right. The longing, the tension, it's everything to me. And this did it so well. He knew it was wrong. He knows it's wrong. He knows that he should not cross that line, but he can't help himself. They never can they? This was a masterpiece. If you love dark romance books, Rook and Rebel by Kate Crew is one of my recent reads, and it's one that I'm obsessed with, that I still cannot stop thinking about, can't stop talking about. It is, I would love to compare it to Lights Out by Nevessa Allen, like the comedy stalker romance. Basically, he has a vendetta against the man that unalived his family and hurt him and his sister. So he wants revenge on him. That said man he wants to get revenge on has a daughter, and he's going to use said daughter to get closer to her dad, to delete him from this world. So he stalks her. It is so funny. I laughed out loud. It was amazing. Like, it's not even like funny in like a cringy way. The way that it was done was so good, and I'm really excited for the rest of the series because I do know she's coming out with the second book, and I'm most definitely going to be reading that one. So this is my first Kate Crew book, and it again will not be my last. So if you love dark romance, I recommend her. So those were all of my book recommendations for if you liked this trope that you should read this book. I hope I gave you guys plenty of good recommendations, and let me know if you guys like this video and if you are interested in seeing another trope related video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video very soon. Bye!